Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lamete Grim Yat Kupata Maham Vande Shri Guru Dina Tarine. Hare Krishna. So today we'll go to the next verse, verse 26. So Krishna is answering to questions from Arjuna. How he answered in the last 4 verses, he answered the questions. What are the characteristics of a person who has transcended the modes of nature, and how does he behave? Those 2 questions are answered. Now Krishna will answer how to, I think the 3rd question was how to transcend the modes. Okay, so Krishna answers from this verse. Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunam samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Okay, please stand.
Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Mam cha yo vyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Okay, translation and purport. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Purport. This verse is reply to Arjuna's 3rd question, what is the means of attaining the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions such as Ram, Narayan. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the form of Krishna or his plenary expansion is considered to be transcendentally situated. One should also note that all forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, and full of knowledge and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So, if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansion with unfailing determination, although these modes of nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of Supreme, as the gold particle are part of gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold. as good as Krishna in quality, the difference of individuality continues. Otherwise, there will be no question of bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means that Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning to bhakti yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualification. This qualification is to become Brahman or free from all material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmeva san Brahmapi iti. One can attain Supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attaining Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as supreme individual soul, as an individual soul. So this is the way by which we can go beyond the modes in this body. So here the word macha is also implies like only. So those who worship Krishna only, how they worship? Avyabhicharena, without fail. So without fail means how they worship? By bhakti yoga. So those who worship him by bhakti yoga only. So that means not mixed with jnana or Ashtanga yoga or Sankhya yoga. No mix, because bhakti yogena, it's not saying Sankhya yogena, Jnana yogena, bhakti yogena. So only bhakti without mixture. So why this mixture is not recommended? Because by the mixture, the complete realization is not possible. The Jnana yogis, though they may understand the Brahman, so they can go to the Brahman level, and not above that. And that is the reason Krishna is in several places explaining Arjuna to do bhakti or to engage in his service. That was Krishna's main purpose, right? That Arjuna should fight and engage in the service of Krishna for fighting, because Krishna wanted to do that. And by that he will overcome his ignorance of not ready to fight. That was his ignorance. So he wanted to remove that. So yesterday's words we saw a person or we who want to transcend these modes, we should be equal or we should be neutral. But if we intellectually understand these modes of material nature and try to control every moment, like engaging our mind and intelligence only in analyzing the situation and then not and becoming neutral. So if you want to get angry, you analyze it and at the spot you become neutral. Or if you want to do some activity but that is not supporting the spiritual thing, then you analyze and you stop that activity or don't do that activity. If we engage our mind in this, then we will be still in the sattva guna. So Krishna don't want you, us, or anybody to be in sattva guna. He wants to go beyond the sattva guna. So that is bhakti. So when the person here Krishna says Brahma bhuvaya kalpate, so he says you go to the Brahman stage. The Brahman stage is actually the part of the spiritual realm, from where the spiritual activities start. So Brahman can be compared to, for example, say the sun and the sun rays. So when the sun rays are there in the morning, we understand the sun is coming. So the sun rays is not the end. Once the sun rays we can see, then the sun also comes, right? So the starting of sunrise is sun rays or the light we can see. Similarly, this Brahman is the starting point of the spiritual practice. So next words actually Krishna explains where is this Brahman connected. And Krishna also explains that in this Brahman stage, you start the bhakti. So why it is that? Because in the Brahman stage, you actually come out of the material entanglement. And there, then you are, but then you need Keval Bhakti. So it's in coming to the Brahman stage is possible for Gyanis also, because they understand that this material world is illusion. So they don't want to get entangled in it. So they come out of this entanglement, and at that level, they will also realize Brahman stage. There are no material miseries and no entanglement. But the purpose will be still for the self to come out of the miseries. But at that stage, there is possibility of doing something for the or from Brahman stage, you can do something which is not for our own benefit. Because at the material level, we do activities for our own desires, to fulfill desires or sense gratification. But when you come out of that, then you can really do something for someone. So that Brahman stage is the beginning of the spiritual practice. So when we want to do bhakti, we have to go beyond the gunas. Also, this sentence implies that so there is interdependency. Looks like how it is possible. By bhakti, you transcend the modes, and to transcend the modes, you use bhakti. So it looks like which will be first. First, what we have to do, transcend the modes or bhakti, or do bhakti and automatically. So the answer is you do bhakti and automatically you transcend the modes. The advantage here is bhakti can be done in this body at this moment. We can start. We can start chanting. We can start reading. We can start japa. We can start listening. All these activities we can do now also. And when you start the activities, actually that moment you start transcending the modes. But because we are not in pure state or complete perfection, we are still doing sadhana. So that is sadhana bhakti, that we try to engage ourselves in the activities which are spiritual, which are bhakti activities, not into the material activities. So the main key point is, instead of analyzing intellectually and thinking by mind about the modes, how they are acting and how I am entangling in them, instead of that, we have to engage the mind and intelligence in the service of Krishna. So how to engage mind and intelligence? By doing Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Krishna has told that always think of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances unto me. Engage your intelligence into me. By this you come to me. So we engage our mind and intelligence into understanding, into remembering, into listening about the Supreme Lord. And by that process, actually, we automatically transcend. But how we have to do it? Without fail. Without fail. So in all circumstances, we have to do it. So we may be happy, we may be sad, we may be morose, we may be in trouble, we may not be happy, we may be happy. In whatever situation, you do the bhakti activities. People like it, people don't like it, whatever, you continue the bhakti activities. So that way you slowly transcend the modes. And at a certain point, it will happen that you will only do the activities which are related to bhakti. And in that stage, you will not get affected by the other activities of material activities. So that stage is Brahman stage, and from there actually our progress towards the Supreme Lord starts. So the next verse actually Krishna explains that how coming to this Brahma Bhuvaya stage, Brahman stage, you can achieve, and what is the basis of that Brahman. That Krishna explains in the next verse. But in this Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga section of Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is very clearly emphasizing on bhakti, that though you understand how these modes are working, how they affect us, but that is not the goal. The goal is to understand that these modes will control us. So I should not take shelter of these modes or try to analyze these modes. Better I take shelter of bhakti, because anyway these modes will keep me entangling. So how they entangle, even if in knowledge, because knowledge also is in mode of goodness. So it still binds you by happiness and illumination, right? So it still binds us when we understand how the modes are working. So still that is not recommended by Krishna. So Krishna recommends to do bhakti in all circumstances. And so Krishna in the next verse actually gives direct connection how coming to this Brahman stage actually elevates you to the highest perfection. So that we will see in the tomorrow's verse. Okay. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to add something? So it's like when the doctor says, or doctor gives some medicine, right? And he says you don't eat this, you don't eat this, something, right? Some rules. So by taking the medicine and following the recommendations, we may recover from the disease, but that does not mean we are healthy, right? So like this, when you come to Brahman stage, you still need to be healthy. So you are coming out of the disease, but to be healthy, you have to do bhakti. So you have to eat healthy food, continue the healthy food, even if the disease is finished, keep on eating the healthy food, then you will be healthy, right? When you eat nutritious food. So similarly, after coming to Brahman stage also, we have to do the bhakti activity. So that is explained in the next verse. Hare Krishna. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.